People always say nuts are healthy, but here's a truth not many share after 60. Some nuts in your kitchen right now might be quietly affecting your energy, making your blood pressure rise, clouding your memory, and even hurting your kidneys. What's worse? Many people over 60 eat these nuts every single day, thinking they're doing something good. I'm Dr. Sophia. I've spent over 30 years helping older men and women feel strong again, think clearly, and enjoy life fully. I've seen how the right foods can bring back life, while the wrong ones can quietly take it away. What if I told you there are 4 special nuts that help your blood flow, boost your brain, balance your blood sugar, and even help you sleep better? And yet, almost no one over 60 eats them regularly. At the same time, there are 4 others that are sold as healthy, but are quietly causing swelling in your body, messing with your medicines, and putting your heart at risk. You deserve to know the difference. In this video, I'll walk you through all 8, the 4 you should choose every day, and the 4 you should never eat again. Clear, science-based advice made just for your body after 60. Near the end, I'll reveal one nut in particular, the most dangerous one, linked to memory troubles and even liver damage. And it might be in your pantry right now. Before we begin, please tap that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss health tips made just for you. If this message means something to you, type 1 in the comments. If it doesn't, type 0 and tell me how I can help you better. Okay, let's start with the 4 powerful nuts you should eat every single day. These aren't just snacks. They're like natural medicine for your heart, your brain, your energy, and yes, even how you feel in the bedroom. Let's look closely at each one and why they matter so much after 60. 1. Brazil nuts, your energy and vitality helper. I remember a patient, let's call him Jack, a retired firefighter in his late 60s. He came to me feeling tired, foggy-headed, and frustrated with his low energy. He'd tried pills and diets, but nothing brought back his spark. We did tests and found Jack was very low in selenium, a tiny mineral most men over 60 forget about, but it's huge for how we feel and think. So, I told Jack to do something simple. Eat just 1 Brazil nut every day. No prescriptions, no complicated plans. 3 weeks later, he came back. His face had color. His eyes were brighter. He leaned in with a smile and said, "Doc, I don't know what's in that nut, but I feel alive again." That's the power of Brazil nuts. This amazing nut is nature's richest source of selenium. Just 1 nut gives you more than your whole day's need. And unlike pills, your older body can use this selenium easily. Selenium is super important for your thyroid gland, which controls your energy, your weight, your mood, and even your memory. As we age, our thyroid slows down, making us feel tired and cold. But selenium helps it work better from the inside out. There's more. Selenium is also key for making testosterone, something many men don't realize. Low testosterone doesn't just affect your love life, it affects your strength, your sleep, your motivation, and your sharp thinking. Brazil nuts quietly help your body make and balance this important hormone naturally and safely. And here's something special. The good fats in Brazil nuts help protect the covering around your nerves. This covering keeps your reflexes quick and your movements smooth. Without it, we move slower, think slower, and feel disconnected from our own bodies. Keeping this nerve covering strong is one of the best things you can do as you age, and Brazil nuts help with that. But remember, more is not better. Too much selenium can be bad over time. I suggest only 1 or 2 Brazil nuts per day. Keep them in the fridge, ideally in their shell, and chew them well. It's a small habit with a huge payoff. You don't need bottles of pills, you just need nature's wisdom, like Jack used. If 1 little nut can wake up your energy, boost your vitality, and protect your nerves, imagine what adding the next nut can do. It's the one I call the quiet protector of your bones and your brain, yet most seniors miss out. Let's talk about it next. 2. Almonds, your bone and brain protector. There's something so comforting about almonds. Maybe it's their familiar crunch or the little bit of sweetness they leave. For me, almonds remind me of my dad. Every morning, without fail, he'd sit by the window with warm tea and a little bowl of raw almonds. He never missed a day. He used to say, "These little things are keeping me sharp, sweetheart." Back then, I didn't know the science, but now I know he was absolutely right. Almonds are one of the most overlooked but powerful friends for senior health. They're not just a snack, they're a daily shield for two very important things: your bones and your brain. First, your bones. After 60, especially past 65, your bones start getting weaker faster. Falls become scarier, breaks take longer to heal, and a simple trip can cause months of trouble. Almonds are rich in calcium, nearly 100 milligrams in just a small handful. But what makes them special is their magnesium. Magnesium acts like a guide. It helps move calcium into your bones where it belongs, instead of letting it clog your arteries. Getting both calcium and magnesium in one food is rare, but almonds give you both. Now, your brain. Every year, more patients tell me they fear losing their memory more than heart problems, and for good reason. Almonds have powerful helpers, especially when you eat them with their thin brown skin on. These helpers work with vitamin E to fight off the daily rust that damages brain cells as we age. Studies show almonds might even help slow down memory problems when eaten regularly. And there's more. Almonds are full of fiber, about 3.5 grams per serving, which helps with constipation, something nearly half of seniors quietly deal with every day. Feeling regular might not sound exciting, but trust me, it makes a huge difference in your energy and mood. Digestion matters more than most people think. I often suggest eating 15 to 20 almonds a day, raw or dry roasted, unsalted, and always chewed very well, especially if you have dental work or trouble swallowing. This step is important. Take your time, make it a peaceful habit. You're not just eating a nut, you're investing in your future strength, your clear thoughts, and your dignity. Almonds are your quiet guardians. Once you make them part of your daily routine, your body will notice stronger steps, sharper thoughts, better days. But what if I told you there's a nut that looks just like your brain and might be the best natural food we have for protecting your memory, improving blood flow, and even helping you sleep soundly? That's exactly what we're talking about next. 3. Walnuts, your brain's best friend. There's a moment I'll never forget. Years ago, I visited a patient named Harold, a retired music teacher in his 70s who had sadly lost his wife. He was struggling not just with sadness, but with his memory. He'd forget names, lose his keys, even get confused driving home. During our visit, he opened his kitchen cabinet and pulled out a small glass jar. Inside were walnuts. He looked at me and said, "I read somewhere they're good for the brain, and they look like a brain too." That stuck with me, not just because it was true, but because Harold, in his quiet, strong way, was trying to fight back. And science backs him up. Walnuts are amazing. They're more than a snack. They're one of nature's most powerful foods for your brain. Yes, they look like a brain, but what they do inside you is even more wonderful. Walnuts are rich in ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fat that helps build and protect the walls of your brain cells. As we age, these walls get stiff and messages between brain cells slow down. Memory gets fuzzy, but ALA helps keep those connections strong. That's just the start. Walnuts are loaded with polyphenols, powerful protectors that travel right into your brain tissue to fight swelling. Why does this matter? Because swelling is a silent thief of memory, focus, and clear thinking. It's a big reason why memory problems happen. Walnuts fight that swelling right where it starts. One study showed that seniors eating just a small handful of walnuts every day for 8 weeks got better at thinking quickly and staying flexible in their thoughts. These aren't just numbers. That's the difference between catching a joke, remembering a birthday, or staying in a conversation. But here's something cool most people don't know. Walnuts also have natural melatonin. the hormone your body makes to help you sleep. As we get older, our melatonin levels drop, leading to restless nights. For many of my older patients, simply adding a small handful of walnuts in the evening helps them fall asleep faster and wake up feeling more rested. I usually suggest eating 7 to 9 walnut halves per day. Keep them in the fridge to protect their good oils, which can go bad in heat or light. Don't worry about the slight bitter taste in the skin. That's where many of the good protectors live. Think of it as a little kick of health with each bite. Harold still eats his walnuts every day. While he still misses his wife deeply, he told me recently his memory feels sharper, his focus is stronger, and he feels more like himself again. Walnuts won't change your life overnight, but over time they quietly support the most precious thing you have, your mind. And if walnuts are food for the brain, then the next nut is the quiet hero for your blood pressure, your eyesight, and your blood sugar all at once. Most people overlook it, but once you know what it can do, you'll never see it the same way. Let's talk about it. 4. Pistachios, your blood pressure, vision, and sugar helper. When I was young, my grandpa had this old wooden bowl on his kitchen counter. Every afternoon, he'd sit in his armchair with a handful of pistachios, carefully cracking them open one by one. I never thought much about it back then, just a quiet habit of an older man. But now, knowing what we know, I realize he was doing something incredibly wise. Without knowing the science, he was protecting his blood pressure, his eyesight, and even his body's sugar levels. That bowl of pistachios was more than a snack. It was a daily dose of defense. Pistachios are one of the most underrated superfoods for seniors. They're often overlooked by fancier nuts, but what they lack in fame, they make up for in power. First, they're one of the best nut sources of potassium, about 285 milligrams per serving. That's more than many fruits and veggies. Potassium is super important for keeping blood pressure healthy, especially after 60 when our arteries get stiffer. For older adults managing blood pressure naturally, pistachios are a smart, safe friend. They're also rich in 2 special helpers for your eyes, lutein and zeaxanthin. These gather in your eyes and help filter out harmful bright light, slowing down vision problems that come with age. That's no small thing. Losing vision is one of the biggest fears for seniors, and pistachios give gentle, steady support to keep your world bright and clear. But maybe most importantly, pistachios are surprisingly helpful for blood sugar. With about 3 grams of fiber per ounce, they help slow down digestion, stop big sugar spikes after meals, and keep your insulin levels steady. For the many seniors dealing with sugar problems, adding a handful of pistachios each day can quietly make a real difference, especially if you swap them for sugary or processed snacks. There's also a neat trick with pistachios. When you eat them in the shell, the act of cracking them slows you down. This gives your body more time to feel full, making it easier not to overeat. Plus, seeing the empty shells helps you track how much you've had without counting calories. It turns snacking into a calm, thoughtful moment. I usually suggest about 1 ounce per day. That's about 49 pistachios. Unsalted or lightly salted is best. If you have arthritis or sore hands, look for the ones that are already partly open to make shelling easier. Pistachios give you a special mix. Great nutrients, yummy flavor, and real health benefits. They support your heart, your eyes, your blood sugar, and your feeling of control over your body. But here's the thing. While these 4 nuts can lift your health after 60, others can quietly pull it down. Nuts that look innocent, even healthy, but are actually causing swelling, raising blood pressure, messing with your medicines, and adding to brain fog. You deserve to know what they are. In the next part, I'll show you exactly which nuts to avoid and why they might be doing more harm than good. Stay with me, this is where the truth gets surprising. 1. Peanuts, the quiet swelling starter. I'll never forget the day George came into my office. He was 72, a proud Vietnam vet who took pride in staying active. But lately, he said something felt off. His joints ached more than usual, he was tired all the time, and his blood pressure had gone up, even though nothing big had changed. As we talked about his daily habits, one thing stood out. He snacked on peanuts almost every day. "They're healthy, right?" he asked. That moment reminded me how much confusion there is about foods that seem harmless, especially peanuts. The truth? Peanuts aren't really nuts, they're legumes grown underground. That one detail makes a big difference. Because of how they grow, peanuts easily get mold, especially a bad kind called aflatoxin. You can't see or smell this mold, it's invisible. But over time, it can build up in your body, harming your liver and weakening your defenses. Seniors, whose bodies naturally clean slower as they age, are especially at risk from this hidden danger. But that's not the only worry. Even without an allergy, peanuts can cause quiet, long-lasting swelling in many people. This kind of swelling affects your joints, your heart, and even your brain. It doesn't shout, it builds up slowly and quietly, adding to arthritis pain, brain fog, and heart stress. For older adults already dealing with stiffness and tiredness, peanuts can make things worse, and most have no idea. And then there's the salt. Most store-bought peanuts are roasted and salted, sometimes a lot. For seniors managing high blood pressure, over 60% of adults over 65, this extra salt only makes things harder. Add the unhealthy oils and sugars often found in peanut butter, and you've turned a simple snack into a daily dose of trouble. Even natural peanut butter isn't perfect. Peanuts have a lot of omega-6 fats, which can upset the balance with good omega-3s in your body, a key part of controlling swelling. That imbalance alone can hurt your circulation, make memory worse, and lower your strength as you age. And if you take medicines like blood thinners, peanuts have things in them that can interfere, especially vitamin K. This makes managing medicines even trickier for seniors taking many pills. I'm not saying you need to panic if you've had a peanut here or there, but if you're over 60 and eating them often, it's time to think again. There are safer, more helpful alternatives that give you the same satisfying crunch without the swelling and hidden risks. And what if I told you the next nut doesn't just raise your blood sugar? It might also increase your risk of painful kidney stones, upset your stomach, and even cause dangerous choking in older adults. It's one of the most popular, sneaky snacks out there. Let's look closer. 2. Cashews, the sugar spike and kidney stone trick. A few years back, I had a patient named Linda. She was 70, full of warmth and laughter, and loved baking treats for her grandkids. When she came in complaining of tiredness, stomach trouble, and surprise jumps in her blood sugar, we looked closely at her habits. To my surprise, cashews came up again and again, in her snacks, her cooking, her smoothies, even in the healthy granola bars she kept in her purse. "They're good for you, right?" she asked with a hopeful smile. That moment stuck with me because it showed how easily well-meaning choices can backfire as we get older. Cashews are tricky. They seem like a healthy snack, creamy, mild, often in health food stores. But underneath, cashews have risks most people, especially seniors, rarely hear about. First, let's talk blood sugar. Cashews have more carbs than many nuts, about 9 grams per ounce, and can make your blood sugar rise faster than you'd expect. For the 1 in 4 seniors with diabetes, and nearly half who are close to it, these little spikes add up. The damage is often silent. You don't feel it happening until you feel tired, foggy, or see worse sugar levels later. Cashews are also loaded with something called oxalates. These are natural things that grab onto calcium in your gut, making it harder for your body to use this important mineral. For older adults already at higher risk for weak bones and low calcium, this is a problem. Worse, oxalates can build up and cause kidney stones, a painful problem that gets more common and dangerous with age. There's another risk many miss, especially for those with trouble swallowing, common in older folks. Cashews are smooth, curved, and surprisingly easy to choke on. That creamy texture that feels nice can also be a quiet danger. Finally, there's the issue of processing. Most people don't realize raw cashews are poisonous. They contain the same chemical as poison ivy. To make them safe, they have to be heavily steamed, cooked, and treated. In this process, many of their natural good things are lost. What you're left with is a nut that tastes nice but does little to help your health and can sometimes cause harm. That's why I tell seniors to swap cashews for safer choices like almonds or walnuts. They give you crunch and joy without the hidden problems. 3. Macadamia nuts, the quiet weight gainer. I once had a patient named Carl, a retired engineer in his late 60s. Sharp mind, great humor, very careful with his routines. But over a few months, Carl started gaining weight, slowly, quietly. His blood pressure was creeping up, and he often felt sluggish after meals. When we sat down to look at his diet, he chuckled and said, "Well, Doc, I don't eat much junk, but I do treat myself to a few macadamia nuts each night. They're supposed to be heart-healthy, right?" That's when I knew we had to talk. Macadamia nuts feel luxurious. Their rich, buttery taste and smooth feel make them seem like the perfect healthy treat, and they're often sold that way. But what most people don't realize, especially as we age, is that macadamias pack a huge amount of fat and calories into every bite. Just 1 ounce, barely a small handful, has nearly 200 calories and 22 grams of fat. For someone over 60 whose body naturally burns fuel slower and who might move less, that adds up fast. You're taking in the calories of a whole mini meal without even feeling full. That's what I call quiet weight gain. It sneaks up on you. No big binges, no sweets, just a slow, steady increase that's hard to reverse. But it's not just about weight. Macadamias are also one of the highest nuts in saturated fat, about 3 grams per ounce. That's the kind of fat that can raise bad cholesterol and put more strain on an older heart. For seniors already watching cholesterol or blood pressure, this fat isn't helpful. It can quietly undo your good work. Then there's the gallbladder. Many older adults get gallstones and don't even know it. They might feel a bit bloated or uncomfortable sometimes. Macadamia nuts, because they are so high in fat, can make these stones move, causing awful pain that can mean an emergency trip or even surgery. I've seen it happen, and often the person had no idea the problem was building. And let's not forget teeth. Macadamia nuts are dense and hard. For seniors with bridges, crowns, or sensitive teeth, chewing them can be risky. I've had patients crack dental work on these nuts, leading to painful, expensive dentist visits. I always tell my patients, macadamias might feel like a small treat, but they carry a heavy price, one that sneaks in slowly and stays. There are other nuts that give you joy without that burden. But while macadamias may weigh you down, the next nut on our list is far more worrying. It's tiny, oily, and often slips under the radar, but it can mess with your medicines, make food taste strange, and even cause dangerous weight loss in older adults. Most people have no idea how tricky it can be. Let's talk about it. 4. Pine nuts, the medicine mixer. Several years ago, I had a patient named Ruth. She was 74, thoughtful, and very careful with her health. She tracked her medicines, walked daily, and loved trying new recipes. One day, she came in with a strange worry. "Doctor, Sophia," she said, "everything tastes like metal. Even water tastes weird. It's been weeks." At first, we looked at her medicines, her digestion, her water intake. Nothing stood out. Then she mentioned something new in her diet, a homemade pesto rich with pine nuts. That's when it clicked. Pine nuts may be small, but for older adults, they can cause surprisingly big problems. Let's start with what happened to Ruth. She had pine mouth, a bitter metallic taste that can last for days or even weeks after eating certain pine nuts. It's not dangerous by itself, but here's the hidden trouble. When food and water suddenly taste bad, many seniors eat and drink less without even realizing it. For someone already at risk of losing too much weight or getting dehydrated, this seemingly small side effect can lead to serious problems like weakness or even hospital stays. Taste matters more than people think, especially later in life. But pine nuts don't stop there. One big worry with this nut is how it might interfere with common medicines. Pine nuts have specific things in them that can change how drugs work in your liver. This includes medicines for blood pressure, cholesterol, and mood, 3 of the most common pills for older adults. The risk? The medicine might not work as well, or you might get strange side effects. Most seniors are never warned about this because it's still not well known. There's also the issue of swelling. Pine nuts are high in delicate fats that can spoil, especially if stored wrong or left on the shelf too long. Once these fats go bad, they can actually cause swelling instead of stopping it. For someone dealing with sore joints or other swelling problems, this adds fuel to the fire. And because pine nuts are often ground into sauces or baked into foods, people don't always know they're eating them. Another worry I've seen in older patients is choking risk. Pine nuts are small, slippery, and can easily be breathed in, especially by those on medicines that cause dry mouth, very common after 60. Mix that with natural changes in how we swallow as we age, and you've got a hidden choking danger. For all these reasons, I urge seniors to skip pine nuts. There are plenty of other choices that give you flavor and healthy fats without these risks. Food should help and protect you, not cause problems or danger. Final message from Dr. Sophia. It's never too late. When I think about all the years I've spent talking with men and women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s, I've learned something powerful. Getting older doesn't break us down. It's the little habits we do every day over and over that either build us up or quietly wear us away. And food, especially something as small as a handful of nuts, is often right at the heart of that story. Today, we talked about 8 nuts, 4 that I truly believe every senior should eat daily: Brazil nuts, almonds, walnuts, and pistachios. Not because they're trendy, not because they're sold in a fancy aisle, but because they work. They support your energy, strengthen your bones and brain, improve your sleep, protect your heart, and help you feel in control of your health again. Then we looked at 4 others: peanuts, cashews, macadamia nuts, and pine nuts. These are quietly doing the opposite, causing swelling, messing with your medicines, spiking your blood sugar, adding weight, or even causing weight loss in scary ways. Most of them are sold as healthy, or at least harmless. But after 60, your body changes. What once gave you energy might now leave you tired. What once passed easily through your body could now be feeding problems you don't even know are linked to your food. And I want to say this clearly, not just as a doctor, but as someone who's watched people I care about struggle silently. You are not broken, you are not too old, your health is not a lost cause. The body you have today is still listening, it's still changing, and it still responds, sometimes in amazing ways, to the small, steady choices you make. I've seen it. I've seen the man who swapped peanuts for pistachios and lowered his blood pressure without new pills. I've seen the woman who ate 1 Brazil nut a day and finally got her spark back. I've seen the couple who started snacking on walnuts in the evening and found they both slept through the night for the first time in months. These aren't miracles, they're biology. They're your body doing what it's meant to do when you give it the right fuel. So, when you walk into your kitchen tomorrow or pass the snack aisle later this week, pause. Think back to what you learned here. Choose wisely. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to change everything at once. But choose what one thing and keep choosing it. That's how change begins. Because this isn't just about blood pressure numbers or sugar charts. It's about waking up feeling steady on your feet, remembering your neighbor's name, having the energy to walk, to laugh, to hold hands a little longer. It's about staying in the game, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, and close with those you love. I'm Dr. Sophia, and I want you to remember this. You're not too old to feel strong again. You're not too far gone to get back your energy, your clear thinking, your confidence. You just need to give your body the right things, and it will meet you more than halfway. Start with the nuts. Let that be your first signal to your body and to yourself that you're ready to thrive again.